We're going behind the scenes of one of the most unique and innovative clubs in world football to find out what goes into running a club at such a high level. Welcome to Inside Wolfsburg. Come on.
We were walking down to it, and the sheer size of the stadium walking down, I was blown away actually. I didn't imagine it to be this big.
No.
From the outside it is massive.
And when you get into it, you just see the forefront of technology. We walked through the tunnel.
Yeah.
We walked through the tunnel.
That was unreal.
Yeah. I thought I had something on the line. When it starts going, bum, 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 bum.
The music, the music was playing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The real music that the players walk out to. And it's, honestly, I got a bit emotional.
Right.
From a player point of view, to walk out to sounds like that and the wolves howling, honestly, it was unbelievable.
Millie, what about that video that they showed us?
Oh my God, yeah.
So, before the game, a video is played where wolves, actual wolves,
real live wolves.
What a story it was. So basically, it turns out that they got real live wolves to run through the city of Wolfsburg.
Apparently the wolves was a mum and her two sons.
Right,
So
professional actors, we were told.
Yeah, 3 wolves running through the train station of Wolfsburg. The video was unreal.
And you could see apparently there were family members in the background just looking at it those aren't dogs.
You'd be terrified coming out to play them.
In fact, let's talk about this. So we also went and had a look at the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
And the home dressing room is absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
There's lighting for different moods. Depending on the mood that they need to set, they have the relevant lighting. There was a room that apparently doesn't get so much use anymore, but it was like a sauna, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unreal. And then you've got your ice baths and all your therapy. So basically anything you could want, right?
You can really see the elite side of the club, the elite side of the players, through their dressing room. They have everything to help them get that 1%, help them, recover in the best way and perform in the best way as well.
Yeah, but speaking of the 1%, I thought it was fascinating to see the away changing room and see the difference between the two. Because you look at the away changing room, it's like, could this be more uncomfortable for them?
Yeah.
Is there anything we could do to make this a bit more uncomfortable? Could we put spikes on the seats? It was like that sort of vibe. And then when they walk out, the first thing they see is just a shot of a Wolfsburg player with a big old trophy laughing. And it's full of shots of players from Wolfsburg in their greatest moments. So it just lets them know this is a club that's won stuff, this is an elite club. And then when you actually did see the home dressing room, this is an elite club. They think about things on another level.
This is a club where they're going to win. They're going to win the game,
Oh, it's mad, isn't it? And that's, speaking of winning, we can talk about not just the men's side, but we've also seen some of the women's setup, haven't we?
Of course, the best team in the world for years. Of course, Wolfsburg women. I mean, obviously it was them and Lyon, the massive 2 women's teams for so many years over the last decade, 2 decades. And I think, just being here as I see it as a founding member of women's football, really.
Right.
Because they've got that much history and that much success. Their mentality is unreal to win, win, win. And, they're going to keep that going, hopefully, for years to come. They've got the big teams like Bayern Munich coming up, Barcelona, of course, who's just won the Champions League. But I think, Wolfsburg mentality and the fact they've been around for so long is something that's so prominent. And you can see it gelled.
Right.
You can see the men's side, you can see the women's side, and it's pretty much together here in this little village.
Right,
It is a little village that's been created around the football club.
Yeah, and on that note, something else I found fascinating, which you don't see in England, I can't think of anywhere it's like that, is the proximity of everything. So the women's stadium, right outside the men's stadium, the training ground, right outside the stadium. It is all a complex. There's wakeboarding outside.
The Esports.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think this is fascinating. So I'm all excited. I was just thinking about how they got in women's football. They made it a big deal before everybody else did. Some clubs, I feel like they have seen the success. Let's go back to England. Let's talk about how after the Euros, a lot of clubs sort of saw, oh God, we have to get on this. These were on it way early. And similarly with esports, they have their own dedicated bit for esports because they've realized, hang on, this is where the future of football lies for a lot of people. A lot of people these days, their first exposure to football is through FIFA and games like that. And they're on it. They've got players. They've got pro players.
They were the first esports club which is fascinating.
Yes.
Like if you think the likes of Manchester City, who are a force, their esports is unreal now.
Yeah.
But Wolfsburg were the first to do it. Like
Mad,
that
innit?
is something it's unreal, to be honest. That innovation and that thought process from years ago,
Yeah.
maybe a decade ago, to think, oh, esports is gonna be one of the biggest things in the world. Now it is. Women's football can be one of the biggest things in the world. Now it is.
Yes,
you know?
yeah. And honestly, just to hear about the thought that goes into what's next,
Yeah.
that was fascinating. But also, looking at the history of it as well, they have an amazing history. It's a short history. The club is quite new in a sense compared to like the likes of teams in England that have been going since the late 1800s and things like that.
Don't say Blackburn.
I tried not to. I was very close. But you've said it now.
It's true.
We get
Blackburn.
Rovers in on every episode. Unlike Blackburn Rovers, though, what I will say is their history is short and condensed, but what a ride.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to the host of the podcast, who was a top guy, and he was telling me about when he started watching it, not that long ago, when you think maybe 25, 30 years ago, they were in the 3rd division, and he's seen them go to beat Real Madrid 2-0. Amazing. That man's name is Volker Rechin, and he's the host of the official Wolfsburg podcast. He was kind enough to take me for a wander around the stadium and a chat about the club. Volker Rechin, thank
Hello.
you so much
Hello.
for spending a bit of time talking to me. I was wondering when you first fell in love with this club. If you could tell me a little bit about the first memories you have growing up and maybe supporting this club.
That's a long time ago because I was born in Wolfsburg, so that's obviously my club from the heart and from the beginning on.
Sure.
And so I started to do track and field in this club. It's not just football. We have track and field as well. We have weightlifting, judo, and stuff like that. And so I did track and field, and I was about 12 years when I was there. And at that time, you had the free entrance when you were a member, a club member.
Right. Oh, okay.
So I was on the Elsterweg, our old stadium, and I was there. I think it started in 1984 or something.
Wow,
so I had my
right.
first games at home there, watching without paying something, but it was just about 5 Deutschmark at that time.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so it's a very, very long time, and during all that time, I definitely stayed with them through the periods.
Right.
I had a friend who played the first team. He was with me together on school and stuff.
Oh, no way, really?
So yeah, so there are many things I've been in contact with this club.
That makes sense. This club seems so connected to the city and connected to obviously the Volkswagen plant as well.
Of course.
So it seems like if you grow up here, small city, 150,000 people,
Wow.
but this stadium holds 30,000. That means 1 in 5 people must be coming to the games. So how could you describe a little bit about the connection between the city and the cars and the club as well?
I mean, the city is Volkswagen, Volkswagen is the city,
Right.
and the club is Volkswagen, and Volkswagen is the club. You know, it's all together. It's the city, it's Volkswagen, and it's the VfL Wolfsburg. They're so connected with each other. Of course they are. And it started as a club for workers there, you know, when they started it. Everybody was working there. Even my friend, when we're together, he worked at Volkswagen and played there for the first team,
did he?
you know. So the connection is really deep, and it's a small city, but because we're playing attractive football and we're in the first league for more than 25 years now, 27 years now, it means that people from around this area, they're coming to this place to see all the good teams playing.
That makes sense.
And we had the Champions League games here against Real Madrid. We beat them 2-0 in this place, and I sat there on the other side.
No way.
So on the 5th row, and it was quite expensive, and I got the tickets very lately before the game, you know, very short term before the game. So I talked to my friend Andreas, and I said, come on, we go there.
Right.
Well, I don't care, but we have to see it, you know. And it was Ronaldo and Bale and Benzema and all those guys are playing. And they were doing the warm-up, and we sat there, and they did it right in front of us. And I thought, oh my God, Real Madrid, you know.
This is a problem.
This is a problem.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And then we beat them 2-0.
Unbelievable.
At home. We lost 3-0 on the back game. You know, Ronaldo did 3 goals and we were out. And they won the Champions League that season. But we sat there, and there's a nice picture. I can send it to you. You can put it on.
Definitely.
My friend Andreas and me, when the second goal was shot, we just were somewhere. You
I know. That's what the power of football is.
That's it. That's all what it's all about. And after the game, we sat there for at least an hour because we were so astonished and so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And we sat there and said, man, look at this, 2-0, Real Madrid. You know, it was like, that was a really, really great day. And
in your mind, those moments, I can think of one or two, and they're so few and far between, but moments last forever in football, don't
absolutely,
they?
Absolutely.
And those moments, I think it's amazing to be able to tell the stories like you do in the podcast of the people who make those moments happen, because so often you forget, don't you? You just see 11 people on the team, but to know that there are people who are connected to the fans, who are fighting for the fans, it's an amazing thing. And I think this club in particular is very, very special. I get that impression. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
No, I mean, I think the Volkswagen factory, we found out it's such an integral part of the city.
Right.
You know, it's why the city was created. It's who the city is, kind of. And I think also the club Wolfsburg is who the city is. And of course, you know, that tie between the workers and the club as well, that brings out such, you know, rich history in a sense, like it's the workers' club, but then also to see the other side, the innovative side of it as well. So it's like the future and the past combined. One thing, I know you're really excited.
I know, go on.
I wanted to mention the kids play area in the stadium. I can't believe it. So the family stand over there is obviously a stand for families, but there's an actual play area in front of the stand, so the kids can go down a slide or look through a telescope when the players are playing.
Right.
Who would have thought of that? Like, I have never seen that anywhere.
Yeah. On the topic of history and innovation, I honestly thought it was mad. I was looking at the seats in a part of the stand thinking, where do I recognise that? The car seats. They're actually Volkswagen car seats. Yep. So you can go and sit in these stands. The seats are heated.
Yes.
Comfy as you like.
Flick a switch.
Unreal.
Heated.
Taking the mick, really. It's a joke, honestly. It's been a fascinating day, and I've absolutely loved it. And do you know what? It wouldn't be possible without sponsors who have helped us get this far. So I want to say a massive thank you to Lily's Vegetarian Restaurant. They're based in Manchester, and it's some of the most delicious vegetarian Indian cuisine you can get. It's actually traditional Gujarati food, right?
Yes, it's unbelievable food. Like, honestly, the food is so rich, so good, and there's so much choice to have. It's brilliant. It's my favourite place to eat.
Yeah, that's how we got hold of them, really, because you're always in there, innit? So
literally, I'm never out of there.
Yeah, fair play. So if you want to go, so what's the website they can go to if they want to check it out?
liliesindianvegetarian.co.uk.
And you can also go to all the links in the socials. We'll put them in the description below. But yes, a very massive thank you to Lily's for putting us here, really, in one of the most incredible stadiums I think I've ever been
from Lily's to Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Each bit has a different vibe, you know. You've got the car seats bit, you've got the family stand, you've got the bits and the standing as well.
The ultras bit, the standing bit.
Honestly.
I'd love to see that. The atmosphere must be insane.
Yeah. And you can tell, like, each bit of it has been meticulously thought out. Joys have been created in the 2000s, I suppose.
And you know what? It's so, like I said, it was big from the outside, but when you get in it, it's so like, I don't know how to describe it, but you can feel like what it's like when it's full, the atmosphere, and being on the pitch, you can feel people, you know, almost enclosed around you. And I bet, you know, the
it's
atmosphere.
on top of you.
Exactly.
It's like Ellen Road in that sense. That's what it reminded me of in that way. It's just like once you go out, you feel... I'm not being funny. There were no one there. When they played that music and I come out the tunnel and saw it, I honestly thought, right, this is it, Lewis. Do you know what I mean?
Your call up.
Exactly, yeah. I felt like that's my moment now.
Yeah.
I'll have that forever. But yeah, honest to God, what a day. And the mix of innovation and past is amazing, but more focus really on the innovation, wasn't there?
Definitely. It feels like a whole club, you know, the men's and women's team, the academy, the esports, everything feels like it really, really comes together. And of course, the workers, the Volkswagen factory, everything ties into this city and this club in general. Like, it's amazing. I've never seen anything like it, really.
No. And do you know what? This ain't really the most thought out point I want to make, but I just want to say everyone here has been sound as a pound, right? Haven't they though?
That's what they say in Blackburn.
Yeah, when we've been,
if you don't understand.
sound as a pound. When we've been walking around, and just speaking to random people who work here,
Yeah.
they are legends. Honestly, like, it has been so nice, such a lovely day.
Really nice people. And another thing as well, you can really feel the passion from
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're so enthusiastic about their club, the fans, everyone. And I think everything they do is embedded, like the culture is embedded in that.
Right,
and I think, it's that work football passion that's ingrained in them, from players to staff to coaches to even employees, even fans. Everyone is kind of encapsulated in this club, in this little village.
And you can sometimes see with companies and that, they have their core values and you think, oh, that'd be nice. And it's not like that. I'm not being funny. I hope this podcast's all right, everyone, because I'm G'd up right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in it. I've actually fallen in love with this club a
It's
little
brilliant,
bit,
honestly.
to be honest. It's mad. Like, so I do
think
hope
people will be able to tell that already. It's unbelievable.
And I've learned so much, not just about Wolfsburg and its history, but about what goes into running a club at this level.
An elite club,
Yeah,
Me
the
too.
levels.
Me too.
There's so much actual thought in areas that I didn't think there would even be. Areas I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's at the top of its game, and we've been told it takes ideas from Premier League, of course.
Yeah. So not just like taking ideas, but they have a whole department really dedicated to sort of spotting the latest thing, what's new, what's coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool that they're open to not trends. There's certain clubs that see a trend and they're like, let's get on that. These are actually innovating their own trends.
Yes, and using it as well. Like the esports, I was just thinking the esports, it's fascinating that they actually use esports and FIFA, for example, to improve, like the players improve their tactical outlook. And
yeah, there's a really interesting point in there that I thought was fantastic, which is those games, they might not have been great, 20 years ago, but these days they're pretty close to the real thing, right? So players will go home and maybe they don't know anyone in the city, they're new to the city. Everyone's got an Xbox, haven't they? They've got something, so they'll go home and play it. But these days, it's genuinely useful for players. Not all of them subscribe to it, but some of them who actually see the tactical side of it. Apparently, even in like F1, like guys would go and play F1 games and they'd know the tracks off by heart. So they're not even thinking about it when they're on the track. And similarly, when they're playing FIFA and they see the tactical positioning and things like that, they're studying the game without even knowing it. So there's a fascinating side to that it sounds like a mad shout, doesn't it? But when you actually boil it down, you're like, oh God, there's something in it.
The thing is, I think Wolfsburg know it though.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know that's what's going to improve them, little percent more. So they use that and they use it to their advantage.
Yeah.
It might be a recreation game, but really they're actually like secretly training.
Yeah. That's one of the most fascinating sides of this whole day for me, has been the idea that there's some ideas that are out there that are actually possibly ones that in some clubs you might go, that's ridiculous, and laugh down, but they are open to that. They are open to different ideas and different perspectives, and they will put things in place if they think it's going to take them forwards. And I'm not being funny. Look at the track record. The women's team, they thought, back when it wasn't a fashionable thing to do, they thought, let's invest in the women's side. They've won it 10 times on the bounce. They've won the Champions League twice on the bounce. It's madness. We've seen the Champions League trophy, by the way. That were a bit of fun, weren't it? I've never seen a Champions League trophy in my life.
It's crazy. They've got some of the best players, best German players of all time. Alexandra Popp, Huth, everyone. And even the younger ones, like Oberdorf, that's just left.
Right.
She's been created from this club because they're so prominent in the German Bundesliga.
Yeah, honestly.
It's unbelievable.
This has been fun.
It has been fun. It's been really fun.
This is like my favourite day of the podcast so far.
Yeah, there's so much going on, so much to see. It's been a really, really fun day.
Thank you very much for checking out the episode. Thank you for checking out Kicking Back. We hope you've enjoyed this. We hope you've learned a little bit about what we've learned about. It's been an amazing day for
interesting.
And I'll be going back to Blackburn with a couple of ideas. So yes, if you've enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. Leave us a comment, and also we're available on Spotify and all that. But if you are listening on Spotify, there's so much cool stuff that we can actually show you. So go and check out the YouTube channel as well. What a day.
Thank you, Wolfsburg.
Right, that'll do, won't it? Peace out, everybody.